So, I'm Kamilla Lil K from Lithuania, although I like to call myself local because I swear I've lived everywhere under the sun. I represent Real Strict Flow and Sui Generis crew, and I also represent More Than a Woman project. Yeah, that's me, and I'm a dancer, but before the dancer, I'm a human, and I think that's the most important thing. But when it comes to dance, I would not like to put a label on myself when it comes to styles, but usually people know me in the dance world for hip-hop and now for experimental and all this kind of stuff. They know me for expressing myself when it comes to dance. So that's about me when it comes to introduction, yeah. So, More Than a Woman is a project that I came up with when I was in New York. It wasn't that long ago, it was like 4 months ago. I was always really into inspirational and motivational talks. I love motivating people, and I love speaking about humanity, and I love embracing each other. I never hold back on compliments because I think everybody's beautiful, and I think if you have the ability to tell somebody that they are great, why would you hold back? So already before I went to the States, and I went to the States because I got invited to judge in Florida, and it was for this event which was based on disability and mental health, and it was based for dancers. So when they told me the concept of the event, I said, do not pay me for the event. I said, just buy me my tickets 2 months later. And I said, whatever happens is gonna happen. But before I went there, I was already working a lot on, pushing people towards opening themselves. And I had this big vision of coming up with movement that would help people, get more in tune and in contact with themselves. So I always had this vision of how should I help people? What can I do to push each other? What can I do, to bring people together? And yeah, and then I went to New York and actually to the States, and I had the craziest trip ever. It was $1 in a dream trip. I literally almost didn't have anything, but at the same time I had everything, because for 2 months, without basically really having any money, I traveled around 6 states. I saw many cities. A lot of people that I met them for the first time. They gave me bed, they gave me place to sleep, they gave me food. I saw beautiful, amazing places. But New York was that place where it was love and hate relationship. I was kind of like going ups and down, up and down all the time. And one day, because I was broke as hell anyway, so I decided to take a walk from Times Square to the Bronx. And it was like a good 3.5 hours walk. So I was just walking, and I usually come up with these questions, like, wow, the person, for example, the person that works in McDonald's, does he ever get appreciated for the job that he does? Or the person that is cleaning the floor, does he ever get a thank you? Or like, oh, you look great today, does he ever get compliments? So I was walking that whole 3.5 hour walk. It was like going through a time machine. I saw so many different vibes and eras and so on. And I looked at these people, and they were always rushing. New York is all about rushing. Nobody stops. And I looked at a few people, and I was like, wow, does this person know he's got beautiful eyes? Or like, does this person know how great he is? And maybe they do, I don't know. But I just, these questions kept on coming up. So I kept on walking, I kept on looking, and I thought, what if I give a compliment and I take a picture? Because I'm really into social media too. I started observing what does social media do to the young generation, or like to youth, or even adults. And what I've noticed, it puts a lot of pressure on how you have to look, how you have to act, how you have to be. So I was like, what if I compliment somebody, I take a picture of them, and then I put them on Instagram and say something beautiful about them, about regular people, not somebody that has a lot of following. And I done that. So the first few people were really happy about the compliments, but they say, picture? No. No. I was like, okay, but you still look great. Thank you. No. But then after, I came into this shop and I saw this guy with curly hair, and I was like, wow, you have great hair. It's like, thank you. I was like, can I take a picture? He's like, sure. It's like, okay. He was so happy. And that's how the idea was born. I started just putting pictures of people on I created the account, which I called More Than a Woman, and it's basically more than a woman, more than a man. We're more than just, this label everybody puts on us. We're humans. And I started just writing down, and with that, I just made up randomly a donation page where I actually just asked people for money. I was like, I don't have anything to lose, so I might just ask, put this donation link, and people send me money in order to go to more states to take more pictures. To do what? Just say compliments to people. And with that, I started building, I made my own design. I never really drew before, but I started drawing. I made crazy logos. Hold on. More than a woman, more than a man. And for example, the t-shirts and everything that I sell, it goes into a fund which I'm gonna use later on when it gets bigger to give people maybe that don't have food or a place to stay, or maybe they even have a little dream here, but they don't know. Like maybe they need just $50 or 50 euros to get to another side of the city because they believe they have something out there, but they don't have it. So if I give it to them, at least they try. So it's all about really just reminding each other how great we are and helping each other out, because I feel like we're all in this together, and it's all about the energy we share. It's like money too. If you spend money with bad energy, the next person that's gonna get the money, something bad might happen. So it's better, we use all this money and we build something great. And now upcoming plans with the More Than a Woman project, I'm gonna be doing monthly local events in Lithuania for different styles, and I want just people to come together and vibe. And in 2019, I want to do a big festival where I'm gonna involve singers, artists, different styles. I want a lot of lectures, not only dance, but here, because I think before dance, mind is important. So yeah, this is more or less More Than a Woman. That's for sure. Okay, so I think to start with, before, I was always I was living in Beirut in Lebanon when I was 7, from 7 to 10. And my mom actually took me to my first classes were ballet classes, but it was kids, and we were just we were told to do this and to do that and to do whatever. And after I stopped, and then when I was 10, I came back to Lithuania, and then again my mom took me to Latin American dance, ballroom dance, and I was always told what to do. Until I started, the situation back home became quite difficult, and I started hanging out more in the streets. And of course I started listening to Tupac and Biggie, and I was like so hip hop. I felt super rapper. I remember I would be walking down the street and I would hear some guy say, "Is this a girl or a guy?" But I was super hip hop. But I started, I didn't know I just knew street dance. So for me, I just wanted to do everything. Oh, I hear locking. Yeah, what is locking? Okay, this is locking, and I do this. I hear house, I do house. I done everything because I wanted to dance. After a certain point, you start to understand what your body likes more at that moment. And then, that's where I think the struggle comes. Because you start realizing, oh, I want to be a hip-hop dancer. So you start working on movement, like basics, for example. You start practicing basics. You start practicing, you spend hours and hours in the studio working on something new, but you actually don't know what you're working on because you don't really know what is that style, but you work on something. So you put yourself through stress, I don't know how to say it, we start working so much on the idea of what we think that style is, instead of understanding what is that style and truly really living in it. So when it comes to movement, before I used to practice a lot, but my practice was freestyle. So I would come in the studio and I would freestyle. Sometimes I leave with a smile, sometimes I leave with a not such a big smile, because Sometimes I come up with a new move, sometimes I do not come up with a new move. But for me, this was practice. And then later, I realized that I stopped. You know, my level became the same. I do not see an improvement. And I was like, what is happening? Oh, I keep on doing the same thing. And then I realized something needs to change. I actually wanted to stop dancing at some point because I felt like, wow, I'm not getting better. I don't know what to do, you know, and I felt, because I was already getting to a good point, I felt the pressure of people like, oh, you know, oh, you're so good, you know, oh, you're gonna battle now, oh, you're gonna do this. And by 16, I was living already in UK. So it was a different environment. So people saw me, they were like, wow, you know, oh, you're so good. And if you do something really good, people start putting expectations. And I was so lost. So I was like, oh, you know, I don't know how to practice anymore. Until I realized that, wait, I need to take my time and understand my body. So I started really like focusing, okay, so what is my body able to do? Which means, what are my hands able to do? What are my legs able to do? I started focusing on each part of my body and seeing the full ability of my each body part. To then I started taking inspiration from completely different things. And that actually helps you so much to improve your movement. Because sometimes we think hip hop, technique, I need to do this, okay, either basic or either I don't understand, you know? But we forget like, oh, we can take so much inspiration from many different other things, you know, not only dance. So I started working on that. I started, you know, really listening to my body and observing what, you know, every single part of my body, with the idea of, you know, getting inspired from completely different other things. This made my practice way much easier when it came to movement. But after that, I realized that it's actually sometimes not even so much about the body as it's all actually in your head. Because I can come to the studio and practice for hours, but if I feel like, oh, I don't feel good today, you know, oh, this happened, so your body doesn't follow. But if you feel like, oh, you know, today is gonna be a great day, I wanna work on this. So if my mindset is good, my body reacts completely different. And then it goes even deeper, because I started thinking, what if I start reading more? What if I start speaking with people more? What if I start, you know, listening to different kind of music? What if I actually make my mind work more than my body? So I started taking breaks from practicing. So I wouldn't be practicing for like 2-3 weeks, but I would just be working on my mind. And the next time I come back in the studio, my body is on a crazy level. It's like, wow, crazy, do this, I want to do this. And that all comes down to finding a balance between the body and the mind. So I think it's just, it's, you know, movement is movement, but it's also about the mind, you know, so it's important to find the balance between these two things. And another thing I wanted to add to that, sometimes it's not only about practicing the technique or the moves within your bodies, maybe pushing the strength or the flexibility. Sometimes I can stretch for 2 weeks, not dance at all. But the next time my dance is gonna be so much more amazing, because I'll be like, wow, my leg is there and my back is in the other room and my head is, you know? So it's like this. So yeah, that's about movement. My relationship with myself right now is amazing. I think I'm at a really good point in my life when it comes to my mindset. But what I want also people to maybe understand, because I get asked this a lot, like, hey Kamilla, how are you so positive every single day? I wasn't. Meet me 2 years ago, I was the most depressed child ever. I was like, life is terrible, my past is horrible, I'm angry with this, nothing is happening in my life because of this and this. So I was a very like stressed and depressed child actually. I was always, you know, I always saw myself as like never finding happiness, but kind of wanting happiness. So before I wanted to actually, I was more of pretending. You know, I was always in the, you know, I knew everybody around. I was like always the hype person, but was I really the happy person? it was a question, you know. I was always like confused, and a lot of things happened to me until one day I said I need to make a change, you know. I want to make a change, and it wasn't easy. I decided, you know, I have to start understanding why am I carrying all these problems with me, because I know it's heavy, but I'm still carrying them, which means I'm somehow comfortable with my pain. But I was like, this is not a good comfort zone to be in. So I started questioning a lot of things, and actually that was the best thing I could do, because I started questioning every detail. Why do I react like this? Why do I do this? Why am I getting upset with that person? Why am I getting jealous of this? And then it brought me back to so many aspects which actually made sense, and it gave me really amazing answers, which made it easier for me to understand myself more and get connected with myself more. That helped me to get into a better mindset of actually thinking, wow, okay, so all these things I can actually deal with. Because people think we cannot deal with anything. Oh, a problem happens, oh, what can I do? But we stress instead of actually taking our time to, you know, to understand the problem. Even the fact that before I didn't like myself, I didn't like how I looked. For some people now they say, Kamilla, you have a nice body, you look great, you know, wow, you're so skinny. And for me, I didn't like a lot of things in my body. And I actually got a lot of pressure before too. Like, you know, people always say, oh, you're too skinny, oh, you're too short, oh, your legs are too short. In the dance world, oh, you're not like this, oh, your feet are not good enough. You know, so it becomes really like hard. So you're already struggling yourself, and the society puts even more shit on you. So it becomes, of course, very hard. So you have to find the inner strength inside to be able to tell yourself, wait, hold up. Why am I listening to all this bullshit actually around me? And why am I not taking the actual time to look in the mirror and see the beauty inside of me? And at the beginning it looks cheesy, you know. Imagine you go in the mirror and you're like, okay, the second. And then, you know, every time you take more and more time, and then you start looking, wow, I have beautiful eyes actually. Oh, actually I like my face. It's not that bad maybe, you know. And it's a continuous work with yourself, not with the others. It's a continuous process of getting in contact with yourself. And once you get in contact with yourself and you understand your best sides, also as much as your flaws, wow, beautiful things happen. Because before I wanted to help so many people, I wanted to do so many crazy things, but it would never happen. It would always turn back against me, because how can I help somebody if I can't help myself? The same way, how can I love somebody if I cannot love myself? It comes down to relationships, to a lot of things. How can I be with someone if I'm not fully with myself? So these things made sense, and I started actually focusing on me. So that's why my biggest advice for people, take time for you and to understand you. And once you do that, you'll naturally give more good energy. You're gonna give so much more to others. So now I'm at a crazy level with my mind. Like, I wanna do crazy things. I always wanna challenge myself and challenge others. I want to always help others. I want to do it, but I don't want to do it because I want to be the hero. I want to do it because I feel good. Because once you feel good, you want everybody to feel good, you know? So yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. Yeah, yeah.